ready?
So we're having a little, unpredictable weather here. Would you say that's how, this year been with the process of the album and getting everything ready and whatnot?
It's very unpredictable because you're working around an engineer who's very busy in his own life, and I'm very understanding of that. So, I mean, time constraint is one. Uh, Unpredictability in instrumentation, definitely. Definitely unpredictability with that. Not knowing if the people you're hiring are going to work out. Definitely unpredictability with Bridget Kalen and her part. Had no idea if she was going to be able to pull through. Thank God she did, and I wish her well, and I hope she's doing good. As far as I know, she's doing remarkably well in her recovery. But I mean, the whole thing was just a roller coaster ride this year. It seems like, of ups and downs and everywhere in between. So definitely a lot of unpredictability.
So once you reach that moment of success today, how did it feel?
Well, it feels good. It feels good to prove everybody wrong that I can produce a product that's viable. And of course, I know I could. I've done it before. But I think this one is so well put together that everybody else who has doubts, those are all going to be put to rest once and for
Right.
all.
So, so you know a little bit more about, I would say, more about a producer's role, a little bit more up your game on the engineering role if you ever take effect in that, at some point again. Because I know you engineered some of your own personal work during the pandemic last year and earlier this year. So you kind of learn the ins and outs about everything what goes on in the studio. Of course, one you were at didn't really have all the gets and gadget like the super studios you would say. So, but at the same time,
Well,
you know,
the best as far as, for sure. I mean, they're tools. Uh, I think at the end of the day, though, what the studio I was working at with Mike had versus other studios with bigger, fancier gear is attention to detail.
right,
And that's very important when you're making something that's going to stand the test of time. And anybody can be an engineer within certain parameters.
right.
But
Anybody.
working with Mike really taught me that I have to pay attention to every detail about the production, about how things are beginning, how things are ending, what's going on. It taught me to be more attentive. But yeah, I mean, Mike has a great studio as far as that goes. It's not the most expansive on tools, but his knowledge is where the real value is. His knowledge and how something should sound. His ability to be able to take apart something and say, well, it should be here, not, down where it's at. And that's really the most valuable knowledge that I took away, really, is looking at it like that.
So you say you pay attention in more detail. So from my perspective, okay, so when I put on earbuds now,
Hmm.
I can hear literally everything that was listed on the song like instrumentation, but you couldn't hear it before. can you hear more instrumentation, like something that you didn't hear before, like on the previous song compared to the newer stuff?
So I mean, you can always hear it with better studio monitors, and Mike's been fortunate to have a really good set of. I mean, some of the top really ones you can get
Right.
without spending to help you hear more. But and that's something you can more, and that was a big benefit trying to grow myself and looking at production and how I look at it. You know, what's going on in the whole picture, the whole sonic picture. Not just, well, the guitar and the vocals, but what about the background instrument? What about where's the vocal
Right.
level on, as compared to everything else? So,
Right. And that's
yeah.
why I kind of told you before, you always want your vocals above the track instead in the mix.
Right.
Because in the mix, well, you won't be able to
Well,
hear
the vocal always has to sit volume-wise above the mix, even a little bit. I mean, even if when you're doing your own mix, you want the vocal above the mix, even volume-wise. So that way it stands out. But where I really came into question a couple times was the background vocals, and that's even harder because that's so easy to miss, even with a good set of speakers. So you want your background vocals not to really compete, but be just beneath your main vocals. So, for instance, on this last track I burned out today, I said, we listened to the final mix down, and I said, we're going to need to bring the background vocals up a little bit more. Because they're there, I can hear them, but they're competing way too much with the main vocals. And you don't want that. You want it just, so you want your
Well,
vocals